It's an honor to have our friend, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan, there's never a quiet or slow moment, is there?
No, there isn't. I like that new. Is that new bumper music? I like that. That sounded good. That's one of the good oldies.
Why not? I always pick oldies. I like them. I can't help it. You know, I think in my prior life I was a DJ. Can you imagine that?
Well, you'd be good at it.
I had a full head of hair and everything else. Anyway, first of all, you're a very good man, Jim Jordan. We really appreciate you very much.
Thank you.
You're having a hearing. What is this hearing all about? When is this hearing? About judges.
Next Tuesday, next Tuesday on the judge issue. Well, look, we got three ways to deal with these judges who think they're more important than the guy who puts his name on a ballot and gets elected by 77 million people. We can legislatively. We have a bill that we think is a good bill. We passed it 2 weeks ago out of committee. The speaker's going to put it on the floor next week. This would say that these judges in Timbuktu, California, who issue some national injunction, that it doesn't apply nationwide. It applies to the parties in the case, and it applies in that respective jurisdiction. We think that's good. We can look at the appropriations process. We do have the power of the purse. We should be using that. And there may be some areas where we want to make sure American citizens get access to justice. We want to make sure judges are safe. We saw what happened in the Kavanaugh thing, but there may be some areas where we can use appropriation. And then finally, we have oversight. And so we feel like it's important to have some experts come in and talk to us about what's going on with these injunctions. And just as importantly, when you have an order like this order that came from Judge Boasberg, which I found, frankly, just ridiculous.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, he said, Mark, you're a constitutional expert, but just on its face, he said, turn the plane around, bring the bad guys back who are here illegally doing terrible things to women, to children, members of gangs, hardened criminals. Turn the plane around, bring all those bad guys back to America.
Mr. Chairman,
and the American people are going, what? You're crazy.
On the appellate court, you had a judge who was appointed long ago by Obama. And she says these hoodlums, these thugs who are here illegally, were not given notice, so they didn't know whether they could seek habeas corpus. So I made the point, which luckily is being repeated on Fox by others today, which is give them notice. They would leave. In other words, not the country necessarily. They'd go somewhere else in the country. You'd never be able to find these people. What do you mean give them notice? The whole point is you got to sweep, you got to grab them secretly.
Yeah, no, this is the mindset of the left, the sanctuary city mindset. Oh, you got a bad guy who's done bad things. We had this with the Denver mayor a couple of weeks ago. They had a guy in their possession, Abraham Gonzalez, who had stolen a car, who had convicted of aggravated or charged with aggravated assault. They were holding him, and ICE said, hey, give us 48 hours notice so that if you're going to release him on bail or whatever, if you're going to release him, we'll come get him. And they said no. They gave him like a few minutes notice. Release him on the streets. They got to go arrest him on the streets, and he assaults one of the ICE officers. It's that left-wing mindset that is so ridiculous. And
or how about this one, Jim?
With that.
This Obama judge, same one. She says, well, they were considering class action suit. You didn't give them notice. They didn't. Excuse me, Judge. A class action suit for a class action defense for criminal aliens? What are you, out of your mind? That's just the one that compared them to Nazis. I said, you want to compare them? Look at the Quirin case of whatever the hell it was, in the 40s, where within a month, 6 of the 8 of these guys, these Nazis, were executed. These judges don't even know what the hell they're talking about.
Yeah. They missed the fundamental fact. They're here illegally. And then you couple that with their gang members. They're not Boy Scouts. They're not here selling cookies or doing whatever. They're bad people who entered the country illegally. They missed the fundamental fact there. So, yeah, it's just frustrating. And so, and again, you know this, when you couple all of that with the fact that on constitutional grounds, Article 1, Section 2, first sentence, executive power is vested in a president of the United States of America. Very first sentence. And then the statutory grounds, the Alien Enemies Act, which says if it's a predatory incursion, well, what other kind of incursion is it from these trendy Agua?
Isn't that an international criminal violent gang? They're international.
Yes, of course.
By the way, who did you decide are going to be your witnesses? Have you made a decision yet?
Well, we haven't announced that yet. We're still working on that. And I'm happy to come on as soon as we have it finalized. We're working on that. We want some expertise when we're looking at potentially people who've been harmed by these bad guys, and we'd love to have Mark Levin come on.
I knew you were going to say that.
Give your expertise.
Well, you know what?
You because you would do great.
Can I take a rain check? Because I have to be honest. I thought about this when you contacted me the other day, and I said,
"Yeah,
I got to get in front of that damn microphone and stare down this guy Raskin. I can't get this guy on any of my shows. He pretends to be a constitutional expert. I know about him, his father, the whole damn thing. And I know he won't come on and debate me. And I want to sit there and wait for this guy start lecturing me. And I say, hold on, Con. You know, honest to God, I'm not running for anything. I don't want anything.
Yeah.
Can I be honest with you? The last time I testified was during the Reagan administration. You know what happened with the Democrats? You want to know? They all walked out.
No.
They all got up and walked out.
You
said, what the hell?
That bad? They must have been that afraid of you.
I can't get him on the program. I can't get Raskin.
Yeah.
I can't get... Do you know Raskin?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I know.
Do you get along with this guy?
I do. I mean, but I get along with almost all.
You
of
have
them.
to.
It's not in the middle of the when it's not in the middle of the fight. Now, in the middle of the fight,
right.
you got to debate them, and you got to I like cross-examine and I like the debate and all that good stuff with the left.
What do you make of this Crockett? What do you make of her?
No, I heard some of the
lunatic.
Things. What did she say? She said something bad about Governor Abbott, I think, and she said.
Oh yeah, his Hot Wheels.
Yeah,
that's pretty sick, don't you think?
Yeah, that's not appropriate. I mean,
and she's basically threatening Ted Cruz. This is a crazy person. I don't know. What do you do in the House of Representatives when you have absolute freaks like this? I'm serious.
Stick to the facts. Stick to the truth. Go tell the American people they're the party of crazy. We're the party of common sense, as President Trump likes to say, and it's so accurate. I mean, you can go down the crazy list. It's crazy to defund the police. It's crazy not to have a border. It is crazy to have men compete against women in sports. It's crazy for a judge to say, bring the bad guys back who were here illegally, did terrible things, turn the plane around and bring them back. It is crazy to encourage the firebombing of Teslas and Tesla dealerships. The left has gotten that crazy. So just point that out, and the country says, yeah, I'll take the common sense of the president and Republicans who are securing the border, who are bringing back common sense energy policies, and on and on and on. So I think we just got to keep pointing that out. And when you do that, they can keep saying the crazy, crazy things they are. But I think the American people have common sense.
We're here with our friend Jim Jordan, chairman of the House Judiciary Committee. Here's the big question, Congressman. Mm-hmm. So there you are. You go to the wrestling match with the president.
Yeah.
And when the underdog wins, and he's a member of the United States military and a Trump supporter, what was going through your mind? How cool that is?
Yeah, no, it was a special moment. I've been around wrestling for a long, long time, and an upset of that magnitude, you'd have to go back to when the legendary athlete and coach Dan Gable got beat, probably back in 1970, senior year. He'd been undefeated and got beat, to have something to compare to it. But I believe that Wyatt Hendrickson, the guy who pulled off the upset of the defending Olympic champ, the three-time national champ, Gable Stevenson,
it's amazing.
That it doesn't happen if President Trump isn't there. I told this to the president. I said, he doesn't win if you're not there, because this young man...
Adrenaline?
The commander-in-chief, his bosses, he said there, he just wrestled out. They could wrestle 10 times, and Gable Stevenson wins 9 of them. But that night, Saturday night, this guy pulled off just an amazing performance, amazing match, and I think it only happened because his commander-in-chief was there in the audience. It was a special, special evening.
And Senator McCormick was a wrestler, too. He was there, right?
He sure was. Yeah, Dave's a good guy. We campaigned with him. He was actually captain of West Point's team way back. Him and I we're about the same age. We wrestled back in the same time. So, good guy, really good guy, and a great senator as well.
You know, I don't mean to be crude, but, we all had to take wrestling in gym, when we were in high school and everything like that.
Yeah.
And one of the things that really turned me off is to have my nose in the guy's armpit. I said, what the hell is this? Am I right about that, though? It's like, what the hell is this? This guy's grotesque.
Yeah, no, it's, some of us like it because of just the nature of the contact of it. It's like, we all want to be middle linebacker. I always say, I'd love to play middle linebacker in the NFL, but I'm like 5'7.5", so you had to wrestle. And in wrestling, it just was, our family did it, and it was the sport that, we found that we liked. Our boys did it. They wrestled for the Badgers as well, and it's just been a great experience for us. And it's not for everyone, but certainly enjoyed the chance to compete and find out just how if you can handle it and how tough you are, and so it's been good for our entire family.
Do you know Joe Bastardi, the meteorologist from Penn State? He's a big wrestler. Oh, yeah. Did you know that?
He's a big Penn State fan. I know Joe. Yeah, Mr. Go on and debate anyone on the climate change baloney. He would go argue and say, that certainly there's change happening, but the reasons they're given, the things we have to do. I thought he was great in those debates. He's a meteorologist and always did a good job. Yeah, but he loves Penn State wrestling.
Who else wrestles up there? Anybody else in the Congress that you know of?
Senator Mark Wayne Mullen has a background. One of his boys competes. Two of his boys compete for Oklahoma State. They're on the team there. And then
these are big schools. These are serious wrestlers.
Yeah, the Oklahoma schools, the Iowa schools, and all the Big Ten, and you got places like Lehigh, Cornell, where wrestling is big, and it of course the fans love the president because wrestling people. There were 18,000 crazy wrestling fans there, and I bet almost every single one of them was cheering the president. They're working class, middle class families in our sport, and they love the president's attitude because, as you know President Trump. He's got an athlete's mindset. I tell this to people all the time. President Trump hates to lose. And that is a good quality. That is an American quality. Americans aren't wimpy losers. Americans are Americans. We strive to win. We like winning. President Trump understands that, and he's a winner. And wrestling people, where the contest is so fundamental, two guys step on the mat, who's the toughest? Who's going to win? If you get your tail kicked, you got your tail kicked, and you got only you to blame. It's like it's an American concept, and they know President Trump understands that, lives that, believes that. And that's why they had such strong support there, whether it's a UFC fight he goes to or whether it's the NCAA wrestling championships. Those kind of people, our kind of folks, support the president.
What kind of wrestling team do they have at Columbia University, by the way?
They're not bad. In fact, their coach there is a guy who wrestled at the University of Wisconsin, coached our boys when they wrestled at UW, and two-time NCAA champ. So Donnie Pritzloff is a great coach. They have a pretty good team. Most of the Ivy League schools that have wrestling do it. Cornell's really tough. Cornell's the best team in the Ivy, and then Lehigh, which is not Ivy League quite, but it's
my old neighborhood.
School.
Yep.
Yeah, and a great wrestling tradition.
All right, last question. I mean this as a friend. I'm obsessed with the UFC. I've been obsessed with the UFC before it was the UFC for 20 years. I used to watch these guys when they put the chicken fence around in Nevada, out there, and these guys have a 200-pound guy and a 400. So the president, last night I tell him, I really like the UFC. He says, you do? And I thought to myself, why the hell? Why wouldn't I? What kind of reputation do I have? Yes, I like the UFC so much my wife has to leave the room. I will sit there and watch it for 5 hours. I love the UFC. Why is that weird?
You got to go with the president sometime. The boys and I went with him a year ago to the fights down in Miami, and it is. He walks in there, it's just like with the NCAA wrestling. The fans go crazy, and of course, a lot of those guys, their base skill set is they come from the wrestling world. Then they learn more of the choke stuff, and then they learn the strikes, the boxing skills. But many of them start with the wrestling base, and there's a lot of wrestlers who really do well in that. So it's
Daniel Cormier. He was a big time wrestler.
Cormier. He wrestled for Okie State. Was runner up, NCAA runner up to the Penn State coach, to Sanderson, who's one of the legends in our sport. So there's a strong correlation there and strong relationship between UFC and collegiate wrestling.
All right, my friend. I enjoyed talking to you tonight. Take care of yourself.
Same here.
God bless, man.
Keep the eye on the tiger. Thanks, man.